YOLO amazing people of YouTube. So I want to make a continuation to the thank you for saving my life video, because I noticed a lot of people watched it and a lot of people were curious about it. So there's a bunch of stuff that took place in between that stuff, right? There's a lot I didn't share, like how I got shot and stuff, and I'll do that video maybe another time. But so I was shot 5 times in the face, in the throat, both lungs, and then through me, like from one rib to my other side, out the other rib, fractured rib, all this shit, right? Now, so the ambulance gets me to the hospital. I remember them opening the ambulance door. Everyone's looking at me shocked, because they put like a sheet on my lower body so no one could see my privates, right? But I guess everyone could see my wounds, so everyone's looking at me like, what the fuck, right? Like they seen a ghost, because I'm bleeding from all places. So they put me, so this is something my dad told me that I don't remember, because once I went into the hospital, they pushed me in, I must have passed out again, and I don't remember. But my dad told me, so just prior to, I guess, because that other doctor was flying from New York on red eye so that he could help in doing the surgery on my trachea, right? Because I had a hole through both sides of my trachea. And I guess at one point they allowed my dad to see me because they weren't sure I was gonna make it. So I was so doped up on fentanyl, because that's what they gave me. They gave me fentanyl and they gave me all kinds of stuff, right? Because I was in tremendous pain. Both my lungs were collapsed at that point. So they had doped me up in so many ways. So basically, when my dad got close to me, I grabbed him from his shirt and pulled him down. And I was so fucked up on the drugs they gave me that I told them in Armenian, but in English it translates to these are undercovers, like cops, like detectives or narcs or whatever the fuck, right? Like I tell them these are undercovers and they're trying to kill me. And I'm talking about the nurses trying to save my life. Like, nah, bro, these are nurses in scrubs trying to save your life. You're just fucking high as a kite, right? So my dad told me that story, which is funny as hell to me. I look back at that, man, and I laugh at all of it. I laugh at every single part of it, bro, no matter how horrific it was, because it was fucking horrific, right? Now, I wake up from my coma. They put me in a 4-day induced coma. I wake up from it, and I am velcroed to the bed. They're literally velcroed my ass to the bed. I can't move my arms. I can't move my legs. I don't know why the fuck I'm velcroed to the bed. And I have tubes down my throat. I have tubes everywhere, man. They shoved so many tubes, from catheters to IVs there was just tubes and tubes. Like they connected me to the fucking Matrix. You know what I'm saying? It was just crazy. I have a picture of when I was in the hospital, man. When I was in a coma, a friend took a picture, and it literally looks like I'm connected to Skynet, man. Like I have maybe like 4 to 6 tubes down my throat. I have 2 tubes in my chest. I have a tube on my side. On my other side, I have tubes in my back. I have a catheter in me. I have IVs in my legs, hands, arms, even in my neck. It was just so many tubes, man. And they would constantly switch them around. But because of the tubes in my throat, I wasn't able to talk. So whatever I was saying, I had to write it down. They had to bring something by my hand, and I would write it down on that pad, right? And I was like, why the fuck am I tied down to my bed? And the nurses kept on saying, you grabbed a nurse. you grab the nurse. That's all they were saying. They would say you grab the nurse and they would walk off. And I was thinking to myself, like, what the fuck are they talking about? Why would I grab a nurse? Like, that's outside of my character. That's not me. That's not the type of person I am. Like, I don't need to grab nobody, you know? Like, I can get ass if I want to, you know? Like, I have never had a problem getting ass. Why would I grab a fucking nurse? They keep telling me, you grab this nurse, you grab this nurse, this female nurse, right? And I'm thinking perverted, like they're telling me I'm grabbing her ass or something, right? So finally, I'm like, dude, explain this shit. Who did I grab and why? They're like, oh, during the surgery, when they were trying to save your life, you grabbed the nurse by her arm and you wouldn't let go. And soon as they said that, I remembered the situation. And I was like thinking to myself, what the fuck? I can't believe they fucking tied me down because of this shit. So basically what happened is they're doing the surgery on me, right? Or they're trying to do surgeries on me. And this is the point where they're shoving everything in me, man. All these tubes, all these IVs, and all this stuff, right? So at this point, I have tubes down my throat, so I'm not able to speak, but I'm trying to fucking speak, and the only thing I'm saying is water. I'm thirsty as fuck. Like I've been walking a desert without water for days on end. Like I would have sold my soul for a cup of water. That's how thirsty I was. And I kept trying to get all these nurses' attention. Because, you know, they would look at me and they would do what they were doing and then switch and do something else and look at me. But they weren't paying attention to what the fuck I'm trying to say. They were just paying attention to what they need to do to save my life, right? It's no fault of their own, but there's at least 4 or 5 nurses and maybe 2-3 doctors in the room, right? And everyone is just doing things, random, different fucking things. It's a mess. Like they're really working 100 miles an hour trying to save me. And to every nurse that gives me eye contact, I'm saying water, but I'm muffling because I got tubes down my throat. So this lady, you know, this nurse, so she gives me an IV in my upper arm, and I say water, and then like I had enough. Like you guys aren't paying fucking attention to me, right? And then she puts an IV in my hand, and I'm saying water as she looks at me, and she just turns around to walk off like all the other nurses, right? So I grabbed her arm so I could, like, she could look at me and I could be like, look, give me some fucking water. I'm thirsty, right? And she flipped out, she's screaming, and the other nurses are like, get out the room, or the doctor, whoever, you know, they made her leave. And then I don't remember after that. I wake up and I'm velcroed to the fucking bed, right? So I'm like writing down, like, dude, unvelcro me, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not gonna grab people. They're like, are you sure you're not gonna try and hurt us? Like, dude, just unvelcro me, man. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you guys, I was half fucking dead. I should have been dead, right? And I'm doped up on shit you guys gave. Of course that's not the same fucking person as right now. You know? I mean, even though I was still on fentanyl. There was a shortage on morphine. So they were giving me fentanyl instead, right? Amongst maybe 12 other painkillers, right? So they finally unvelcro me, and I'm able to fucking write down with both hands now, because I still can't speak. So I'm like eyeing the pad, and I'm writing down. I'm like, hey man, apologize, because it was a dude that unvelcroed me. I was like, hey man, just tell that nurse I'm sorry, like apologize for me. She's like, and he's like, nah, she doesn't want anything to do with you. She's not gonna come in here. I was like, all right, that's fine. Just tell her I'm sorry. You know, that's not the person I am. I don't walk around grabbing people, and I especially don't try and grab people that are trying to help me. I was just desperate for water, and I'm still desperate for water. And this water situation kept persisting, man. And I'll tell you how I solved this. It was like I had to tell them to MacGyver some shit. So Anyway, so I guess that dude finally apologized to that nurse, but I never saw her again. So, nurse lady, if you ever watch this video, I apologize. I was half dead, doped up, ready to sell my soul for a cup of water. Anybody, not just me, anybody in that circumstance, they are not the same person, nurse lady. So don't be offended by me grabbing you. I meant nothing by it, you know? So I keep telling them, dude, I'm fucking thirsty. You guys need to give me water. And what they would do is they would come with this little tiny, it looked like a straw with a sponge on it. And they would dip the sponge in water, and then they would just dab my lips. They would literally just like dab my lips. And I could barely like suck a droplet of water from the corner of my mouth, right? And I'm writing down to the guy, hey dude, man, you need to give me water. He's like, dude, you have tubes down your throat. I can't give you fucking water. And so I thought about it for a little bit, and I'm just, how am I gonna get water, man? And I figured it out, and I wrote to the nurse. I was like, hey bro, all these tubes going down, right? Some of them go down to my stomach, and I'm writing it down, and he's talking. He's like, yeah, a couple of them go down to your stomach. That's how we're feeding you, and we're doing other stuff. And I was like, okay bro, just put water down the tube. He's like, bro, I can't put water down the tube. It's just a little tube. I'm like, all right, don't you have like a funnel? You know, like, can you attach a funnel to it and just pour water? Like, it'll just go down to my stomach. He's like, dude, I can't fucking do that. Like, yeah, that is, you know, I'm not allowed to do shit like that. You're fucking crazy. And I told him, hey man, like, fuck that. Like, close the door. And he went and he closed the door. I was like, hey bro, lift up your skirt, grab your fucking balls, get a fucking a funnel, and pour some water in it, right? And this guy did it, man, even though he wasn't supposed to. He got a funnel, he got me some ice water, and he poured water down the funnel. And it was the craziest feeling. You know how when you drink like cold water, you could feel it going down your esophagus and into your stomach if it's really cold, right? Well, this time it was like my stomach got cold, and I could feel the water just going up my esophagus instead of down. And it was just the most refreshing fucking feeling ever, because it had been days that I've been thirsty. And like, even when I was dying, I was so thirsty. It was fucking crazy. And this guy nurse, he actually could have gotten in trouble if I was a dick or something, you know? But nah, man, I'm genuinely appreciative of it. Dude, if you're watching this, if you ever watch this video, salute to you, man. You're the shit. Thank you so much for giving me that water in a funnel. I know we MacGyvered that shit, but holy fuck, bro, that made me feel a million times better. And all that pain and agony I was in, you can't imagine what quenching my thirst did for me. It's there's no words to describe. When I say I would have sold my soul for a cup of cold water, I would have sold my soul for a cup of cold water. Like, that's how thirsty I really was. So salute to you guys, man. So the recovery process was horrific too, man. So what happens is, anytime they touch your lungs, because there's machines breathing for me, right? And it's crazy. I found out that most people that like, let's say if there's a building's on fire, most people die because they inhale fire. And what happens is they burn the inside of their lungs. So what happens is you build scabs on the inside of your lungs, and those scabs it kind of kills you inside out. It's not just getting burned, right? So same thing with me. Since I had been shot up, I had all these scabs on the inside that, you know, it had to come out and stuff like that. And I still talk funny, you know, from because I already had damage to my face, like a torn ligament and a torn muscles and stuff on my left side of my face from a car accident. Now I've been shot in the same fucking place, and it's like, yeah, it's still, I still slur words. It's weird, but so anytime they touch your lungs, where a machine breathes for you, a very unique thing happens. It's really weird, but you lose 7 to 11% muscle mass a day. It's only when they fuck with your lungs. 7 to 11% muscle mass a day. So when I got out the hospital, man, I got out at 110 pounds. And I literally had to learn how to walk again. Full body atrophy. Crazy, man. Like, I had to relearn how to use all my muscles, every single one. It's so fucking crazy, dude. It took me a week to learn how to move my finger left and right. You have no idea the amount of muscles it takes in your arm to move your finger left and right. You can curl it. It took me like a day or two to get my hands to curl. But moving my pointing finger left and right, it took a week. Dude, it was crazy. I literally learned how to walk again. And everything else, right? And then, yeah. And I was all good. I was cool. I was out of depression. I was like, I'm good, like when they released me. But the problem was, because I had taken so much physical damage and I had so much muscle atrophy, that 6 months later, I caught a fucking heart attack. And, you know, they do the, I forgot the procedure, when they go through your vein and they go all the way into your heart and to see if you have blockages and what. I had no blockages, no arteries clogged. It was just my heart tripping out, and I guess I didn't get oxygen to one part of my heart for like some time, and it was like minimal damage, but that tripped me out and gave me PTSD. I didn't get PTSD from the shooting. All that was fine. I went through all that like fine. But the day after my fucking heart attack, I had full blown panic attacks. Full blown. Like, I'm talking about I've never felt I knew what anxiety was. I studied psych. You know what I'm saying? I knew what it was, but I never felt anxiety. I didn't know what the fuck that was. I never really felt that emotion. You know what I'm saying? So I went from like never had feeling anxiety and panic to I'm almost like I'm 30 years old and I'm suddenly full blown panic attacks, thinking I'm fucking dying. And I still have to drink medication till this day because I get panic and anxiety attacks. Like, if you guys were to go through my YouTube page, I post some of that shit, like of me having panic attacks. And I post them just so that like later on in the future I could go back and see my progress of if I've progressed, it got better, it got worse, or whatever. And yeah, so I had to relearn how to walk again and all that shit. And I found that the easiest way for me to build some of the muscles in my legs was I would skateboard, because I would just have to push and stand on the board. Where if I was walking, I had to walk like 10 feet and then I was exhausted. Like, I had to sit my grown ass man, I had to sit my ass down on the dirty floor after like 10 feet. And then I would rest for 10 minutes, and then I'd go another 10 feet, and then 11 feet, and then 15 feet. So it took some time, man, but I powered through it, man. And now I'm like, I even hit like 200 pounds at one point. Muscle, not fat. Like, I hit 200. Now I'm like 180. I dropped some weight, you know, just I'm 180. I'm built nice. I'm thick. Everything came back good except for my stamina. I could sprint, but I can't run for shit. I still have to rebuild that long-term stamina of running out of breath. You know, it's not happening. But again, man, you first responders, you nurses, you doctors, all you people, man, friends, family, all of you guys are the fucking shit. Don't ever let nobody tell you otherwise. You guys are fucking heroes. And yeah, you guys are the shit, and I love you guys for that shit. So salute to you guys. I hope to you people that this is entertaining. I hope I entertained you. If not, it is what it is. It's my story. Shit happens. Solo, YOLO, BOLO. One of these days I'll make a video on the actual shooting, because that was a fucking movie. Like, if I saw it in a movie, I would say this is fake. It was so wild and crazy and exciting and all these things. It wasn't exciting after I started dying, but it was exciting while it was happening. But if I saw it in a movie, I'm telling you, I would say, this movie's bullshit. It's one of those fucking action hero movies, you know? But no, man, this really fucking... I'll make a video one day, and maybe you guys can check it out. Until then, Solo, YOLO, BOLO. You guys have a lovely day. Be safe. Don't get shot. Saving lives is better than taking lives. Yeah. Peace.